You may notice that I have a bit of a new setup here. I'm now using a DSLR to film, and I've got a couple of fancy new gadgets here, like I've got a arm for the microphone now, which is quite useful. For the microphone, I can bring it close to me, or I can set it back out of the way. And I've also got a new audio interface, which makes it quite convenient for recording. One of the things about this audio interface, you can set the microphone to be extremely sensitive so that you can whisper very quietly and the microphone will pick up everything. So let's do some deep breathing right now. In through your nose. And out through your mouth. In through your nose. And out through your mouth. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. In through your nose. You may be able to hear some of the background noises. Now, I usually film these videos in the very early hours of the morning. So, as the sun rises, you start to hear the first birds that are waking up and calling to each other. So the magpies and the kookaburras, they're the first birds that start calling to each other. When I walk outside in the morning to go to work, sometimes I drive my car, and other times somebody picks me up. We have a carpool system. And when I wait outside to be picked up for work, there's a magpie that's quite friendly and has learnt to trust me, because I think he realizes that when I go outside, sometimes I do the gardening, and when I do the gardening, I turn over the soil, and the bugs and worms and grubs come out to the surface so he can come and get a snack. The magpie thinks that I'm coming out and feeding him. They're very intelligent birds, magpies, Australian magpies, which are unrelated to European magpies, but they have very similar behavioural traits, even though they're from a completely different genus of bird. life is going as you get to the end of the year, because you can really sort of look at the goals that you set for yourself the previous year and see how well you did in achieving those goals. Because there's not that much time left in the year. You realize it's coming up to Christmas again. Any goals which you've failed at over the year, it's pretty clear that you probably can't turn it around now. And so it's your chance to reassess, remember the goals that you set, and start thinking about how to reset those goals for the following year. Or if you need to take a different direction. So, like if you plan to exercise, there was some skill that you wanted to develop over the year, or maybe you wanted to do some reading and you set a list of books, and now you realize you missed out on your opportunities and you don't have enough time now to finish all of those books. You have a chance towards the end of the year to think about what didn't work out with your goal setting, and what would be a more reasonable aspiration for you in the future if you want to set goals. I know that oftentimes I set goals to develop as a guitar player, or to learn the piano, or to develop skills on a particular musical instrument. And then later on, maybe after a few months or a year, I lose a lot of the motivation to develop on that instrument. Looking back on the goals that I set, I find that I had a burst of motivation to develop on a particular instrument or in a particular style of playing. Yeah, then I run out of motivation, or something else takes my attention away. I was learning the piano for a long time, and then I got to a point where I had to spend more time worrying about things around the house and work, and I didn't have the energy anymore to be practicing the piano. And then when I did have the energy, I was more interested in practicing the guitar. Once you lose your momentum working on a particular goal, it's very hard to gain it back, because you regress for all the time that you spend away from it. But lately, I've been playing the guitar a lot, and specifically, I've been playing the Bach Cello Suite No. 1 for guitar, but I play with a plectrum, and so it's sort of like a particular style of flat picking on an archtop guitar that I think sounds really beautiful. And I'm also learning Johann Sebastian Bach's Partita No. 3 Prelude on the guitar, which is quite long and quite difficult. I can already play it on the mandolin, but it's more difficult on the guitar because of the way the guitar is tuned. It's a bit more difficult to play certain passages. The other challenge that I'm having at the moment is because my free time is very, very early in the morning. I'm not exactly free to make a lot of noise style of playing very softly with amplification compared to playing loudly so that you can hear it. But I'm enjoying that a lot. And I'm also enjoying making these ASMR videos. I've experimented a bit with ASMR over this year. I'm not sure I think I started ASMR this year. I don't think it was last year. But I enjoy the process of making ASMR videos. I find it's a lot easier to record the ASMR video, but editing can be quite difficult. Well, not difficult, but tedious, because I cut out all the unpleasant sounds and all of the long pauses from the video, and that can take a lot longer than the length of the video to get it all edited. But I hope that now that I have some better equipment for recording, and now that I'm recording early in the morning without much background noise, I can hopefully save time in the editing phase, because there's less extraneous noise, less things to remove. The problem that I had with my other camera on this computer is that camera has a very wide angle lens, and when you have a wide angle lens, you have to zoom in with the digital zoom in order to remove the fisheye effect. And when you zoom in with the digital zoom, the quality of the image is greatly reduced. So the video quality, despite it being a large file, the picture quality wasn't very good. Now hopefully with the DSLR it's a little bit better. So back to the question of how I've gone at achieving my New Year's goals. First of all, I haven't done too well at the exercise regimen that I set out at the beginning of the year. I've definitely fallen off the wagon with that, and I haven't really done any of the readings that I thought I was going to be able to do over the year. That didn't happen, and I lost track of what I had decided I wanted to read, or it didn't interest me at the time, and so because I lost interest, I didn't do any of the reading that I set out. And I've been busy because, it's been a big year for me. It's been quite busy, so I don't feel too bad about that. Practicing the guitar, I've done alright, but I probably could structure my practice a bit better, set some clearer regimen to follow, like set pieces that I could work on regularly rather than just whatever I feel like at the time. Now, in previous years, I had actually been working on writing a book, like a guitar teaching method, but that sort of fell by the wayside. And when you're developing a syllabus or a methodology for teaching, it's really quite a large integrated piece of literature, so it takes a huge amount of planning in order for it to be cohesive. Unfortunately, because I've had very little free time, and the time is split up into small bursts of time, I haven't really had the headspace or the time to work on that book, which is disappointing, because it's not something that I can just work on in 30-minute increments. waste my time if I tried to contribute to it little by little without thinking about how the material is going to be integrated into the total work. So for next year, I think I will set my goals a little differently. In general, I think I should aim to be more methodical in working on all these projects that I have. I should allocate a small amount of time every day, do some really basic exercise, mostly focused on flexibility, because my biggest problem at the moment is with work. I get home and I lie down or I sit down and my whole body freezes up, and I need to warm down and warm up and generally just try to keep myself limber for work so that I don't seize up. Perhaps every day before and after work I should just do some stretches, some basic calisthenic activities, and then get on with my day, even if it's just 10 minutes. And for reading, I'm not sure specifically what amount of reading would be appropriate, but as I get through the year, I want to make sure that I do at least some reading on a regular basis. So perhaps in this last couple of months of 2023, I'll read gradually. That would be a good goal, I think. So of course I need to write this down so that I can remember it. And perhaps I should also set a goal to upload at least one ASMR video per week next year. At the beginning I set one coming out every day, but then quickly the quality of those videos I think dropped a little bit, and then I didn't have time to do it. And then of course when I stop, things stop entirely, and I've just come back to it and made a few videos and didn't particularly plan or prepare for them, but I did what I could. So if I set just a manageable goal, like one video per week next year, I think I can manage that. Even if it's a short video, my skills for making the videos, editing the videos, speaking off the cuff without too much preparation. You know, I find it quite amazing how some people on YouTube, they have a skill to just speak without any preparation, and they can keep it together. They don't leave any big long pauses. When people do a live stream and they can just keep talking and they don't sit there like, oh, like I know I would if I was live streaming. But I think if I keep working on these ASMR videos like this, I should get a little better at speaking without waffling on too much, and also without pausing. So, as I've said before, it's good to sit down and just think about what's going on and collect your thoughts every now and then, and making an ASMR video is a good way of doing that, because it's a little bit of pressure to get the ideas out and to Thank you for listening to this ASMR video by Just Listen, your destination for relaxation. I'll catch you on the next one.